so ugly. You know what? I wish I could figure out how to do this more seamlessly, and despite all of my know-how, that isn't one of them. All right, there you go. It's happening for real. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Nanette Nolan. I am the Director of Leadership for 33rd District. I'm joined today with our Executive Director, oh my gosh, wrong person, our Executive Vice President, Marcia Cottrell, as well as our Director of, oh my gosh, Kimberly, what do you do?
Family engagement.
Thank you. I had community concerns and I was like, that's not it. Family engagement. So I'm thankful to have both of my colleagues here with me today, keeping me in check and helping out. So warm welcome to them. First of all, I'm so incredibly excited you guys are here. You gave up a little bit of your personal time, whatever time you could have been giving to PTA or other volunteer activities or even just hanging out. So I appreciate the heck out of you. And if you're later on viewing this or watching the recording, you're awesome also. So just some quick housekeeping. This will last about 90 minutes, but you know what? If we fly through the material, it could be less. So just know 90 is kind of the max. If anyone needs to stay on with me after the recording is long done, the training is done, you have something you want to run by me or some help, happy to stay a little bit longer. No need for cameras. I appreciate that you guys want to be on camera if that's your jam, but just know that that's not necessary for this exercise. Also, everybody should be muted, but if you can stay muted until we get to Q&A sections, or in case you notice anything really red hot that you need to stop us on, okay? Otherwise, please just use the chat. My colleagues, again, Kimberly and Marcy, are going to be answering chat as things come in, and then we'll have frequent Q&A breaks. I want us to feel like we can work collaboratively. We have a 1 minute exercise we'll try out. And then again, yes, it's totally being recorded. In the short term, you guys will get a recording to the cloud recording of Zoom. And then afterward, we'll move it to our 33rd District YouTube channel. So, all right, housekeeping out of the way. Boop. Pop quiz. I know, you guys, I just got in here. She didn't tell us anything. I haven't learned anything. That's totally fine. I figured it would make sense to first maybe just do a quick knowledge check. So, fun. First, let's do a test poll. I just want to make sure you guys feel comfortable with using the tool in case you haven't used it in a while or ever. So I'm going to launch a poll, and what you guys should see right in the middle of your screen is a test poll. So if you guys wouldn't mind just, oh, weird. Oh, I see. It was me. My view is funky. Are you guys seeing a test poll too or no? All right, I'm seeing heads saying yes. So the test poll that's in front of you should say, if you could be a fruit, which kind of fruit would you be? So go ahead and pick your choice. The co-host and I can't participate, so I don't get to do anything, but clearly I'd be a banana. And maybe Kimberly Kiwi would be a kiwi, but I don't want to make that assumption. She could be a mango for all I know. And Marcy is 100% an apple. I'm not seeing participation, so I'm not sure if you guys are seeing it. Are you guys seeing anything in chat? Or if you guys are unable to see it, let us know. Let's go back. Let's see. I'm going to end poll and I'll relaunch it just in case. Okay. I'm not seeing movement though.
On your last poll, Nan, you had 100%.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't, maybe I'm just not seeing it. Do you want to see if you can launch them, Marcy?
I don't know if I can launch them, but I can see them.
Okay. Oh yeah. So, and thank you so much. All right. So I think let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and launch the next ones then. I'm going to assume you guys aren't pulling my leg and you can't totally see them. So we have another poll coming up. Oh, hold on. They're saying I have to end the other poll. Just kidding. I'm going to get this. And maybe I'll edit it out. I don't know. So we have a couple of pop quizzes. Again, if some of this doesn't seem familiar, that's totally fine. Pick an answer you think is the best choice. The first one is, what does the phrase funds not belonging to a unit mean? Money that belongs to donors, the portion of membership dues that are payable to your council or your district if you're out of council, funds in unallocated reserve line items, or not totally sure. And then once you guys are done with that one, there's a couple more. Just again, this is sort of like a knowledge check. I just want to know where you guys are at and how you're feeling about this. What does the term remit through channels mean? So does that mean sending a portion of your membership to, dues to council, district, state, and national? Or does that mean collecting membership through different platforms, or who knows? So again, if you guys would be kind to go ahead and drop that oh my gosh, participate in the poll, or you can enter in the chat. And then the last question was, two questions. Like, how often should your unit remit dues to council or district if you're out of council? Monthly, whenever you get your act together, or a few times a year? And then the last one is, if a person purchased membership on January 23rd, precisely, 2023, when does their membership actually end? And then Marcy, let me know when I can go ahead and end the poll. Again, I can't see the results on my end, so I'm just assuming this is all going swimmingly. Oh yeah, I can see them. Oh yeah. Okay, good stuff. I'll give it like another half beat, and then we'll end the poll. Nice. Well, so it looks like you guys are some smart cookies. A portion of the membership dues that are payable to the council, district, and state and national is exactly what we mean by money not belonging to your unit. So the way it works is, let's say somebody gives you a $10 dues, right, for your bylaws. A portion of that stays with your PTA, your unit, but a portion of it goes to through channels to the rest of the PTA organizations that are in line with us. So National PTA, California State PTA, 33rd District PTA, and if you have a council, the portion goes to theirs. And the money goes toward things like funding advocacy efforts, education, them being able to run their websites and all the things that we utilize as PTA leaders, and even things that maybe some members use. So there's a lot of your $10 or whatever that dues gets stretched pretty far and wide. It's a good portion stays with you guys, and a decent chunk goes to others. Let's see. What does the term remit through channels mean? A bunch of you guys did get this one too, sending a portion. Oh no, I think I read that already. No, it's the same thing kind of almost. Sending a portion of your dues through channels to those entities. And then how often should your unit remit dues to your council or district if you're out of council? Monthly, thank you. And I'm so glad nobody said whenever we get our act together. Let's be honest, we're busy people. I think that's highly subjective. A few times a year, no. So even if you get one member that month, that's the member you remit for. So and the quick thing there is that you guys have Totem, right? If you're using Totem, that math happens automatically. If you get membership from any place else, checks, cash, other kind of online stores, that money has to be remitted. That's kind of like what you're worried about passing the check for. Otherwise, the work's kind of done for you with Totem stuff. And then the last question is, if a person purchased, I wanted to stump you guys, if a person purchased membership on July 23rd, 2023, right? So last year, when does their membership expire? And actually, the answer here is October 31st, 2023. Technically, it would have been maybe June 30th, 2023, except they have a grace period. And the reason for that is because as we start up the school year, we have association meetings and the like, you probably haven't had time to get members into your, to purchase a membership for this year's membership from you guys. And so really it's important to have, members who are able to still vote. So they give them a little bit of wiggle room, but that's the honest answer. So thank you guys for that. Were you guys able to see the share or not see the share? All right, I'm good with that. I think we're good with that. So that was a pop quiz. Thank you for letting me muddle through that, everybody. I think you guys did amazingly well. I know that we're all coming at this from, different levels of PTA. Like some of us have been part of PTA since forever, and some of us are very green. So if you felt like maybe you struggled a little bit with that, no worries. We're here to help you. So as I promised in the pre-workshop email, we were going to talk a lot about, or a little bit about, I should say, at a high level, what your role as a membership chairperson is. So this is kind of thinking about like the main buckets of activities. So first and foremost, your job is to promote and sell membership. I don't know if I'd say sell membership, but definitely promote membership. And because technically people are buying memberships or becoming members, there's a money exchange anyhow. So promote and sell membership. And you're going to do this through a variety of ways. If you're not already, sit down with your president and find out what are the different channels, different ways you can market to your members or would-be members, right? Your wider school community. So talking about, how do we get emails out and what's the, how often can I do that and who do I go through and what is the approval channel? Maybe if your school has a newsletter or a video blog or something like that, maybe you just see how you can get in on some of that action. Or, how often can you send flyers? I wouldn't do it all the time, and maybe periodically, especially if you have some kind of membership drive or effort you were trying to, drum up some interest in. Social media, if you guys have social media channels, awesome. Who posts? How often? What do they need from you? And I would definitely make sure that that's on your calendar, so that way you're not forgetting it. We all get really, really busy, and it's easy to kind of forget. Like, oh snap, that's next week. Like, so don't let that happen. Build in some time to build out those messages and then get them to the right person, and then make sure that they get out on kind of a normal cadence. I'd say monthly at a bare minimum. Other tools in your toolbox for promoting and selling is Totem. So what's very cool about Totem, again, it's a California State PTA membership tool. It's just one tool in the toolbox, but what's wonderful is people can easily like scan a QR code, click a link, and get their membership then in there. They pay $1 fee for every membership, but that's not coming out of your money. That's that's the member's decision to pay that fee. And I gladly pay it every time because that's way better than trying to find the one checkbook I have somewhere that I think still has an old address, just to be honest. So thinking about Totem as another tool, and it does a lot of the divvying up for you. You can also pull reports. And the very cool thing is you can even buy credits and use that as your email messaging platform. And it has some built-in translation tools, which I think is also pretty rad. So, if you guys are looking for some additional ways to reach members, that's a very cool way. And then also if you guys have online stores like PTZ or MemberClicks or MemberPlanet or CheddarUp or any of those names, that's another tool in your toolbox that you very well might be using. If you're not, or you're interested in looking at some options, happy to walk you through some of that, later or, after the workshop. PayPal or checks and cash. Like, please don't forget to have membership envelopes in your front office for people who kick it old school. People still like to pay for things in check and cash. Not me, but again, there's tons of people. My aunts, my uncles, my mom, like people love that stuff. So make sure that you make membership easy to become a member in as many ways as a person might want to. And one note about the membership envelopes and having something in your front office, make sure that you talk to your principal and your front office and president about what the game plan is. Don't just go in there and, throw up a bunch of stuff. Let them know, like, this is where I would like, does this make sense? Because we have this, box here. The other things that are kind of, well, I'll get into more of that in a little bit too, but just make sure that you have a way for people to join quickly, easily, in a way that's comfortable for them. Another part of your role is counting and reporting members, right? So again, I mentioned some membership platforms that you guys may or may not be using. If you guys have a PTZ store that collects membership, and then you also maybe have, Totem that's collecting some membership, and then you also have checks and cash that have, flown in, that's awesome. But make sure that you're counting all of those on like a central membership roster. What I mean by that is like a Google Sheet. Free, easy, set up a Google account. Voila, you have access to this free tool. I would recommend the member's name, the date that they joined. That's going to be important. I'll talk about that in just a moment. If you're tracking for contests or things like that, it might be helpful to have the student's name or the grade or classroom or the homeroom teacher, whatever. And if you haven't yet started building that out, now is the perfect time. You've got a whole bunch of members that have joined, and hopefully you'll have a whole bunch more. So it's important to kind of stay on top of that paperwork. One tip I could give you is that for your financial team, everyone's got their own things. We're all volunteers. Make sure that you coordinate with your president as well as your financial team when they will be able to pick up the money that you're going to count, when they're going to be depositing stuff, just making sure you're in alignment, and then they know that you're going to be there at the school with one other board member counting money as you're supposed to, that the money's going to be stored safely in a safe, and that your financial person is going to come and be able to pick that up from the safe at your school. If you're kind of shrugging your shoulders and like, safe, what is she talking about? You should not be leaving money hanging about. If there's not somebody to count it, it needs to be secured in a locked location. I can't say enough for having a safe, especially if it's going to be like on the school premises. Talking with your board, talking with your principal, and they're not too expensive, but something that is only accessible to probably the financial team and your president. Something that you can easily put money into and have to have a second person get it out. You want to have transparency. The kind of financial way, or the way we handle our finances in PTA, high transparency. You don't want to be liable for missing money, and you don't want anybody else to be liable. So in the scenario where you have a bunch of checks and cash that have come in, you've got envelopes all over the place, you get another board member to sit with you, and together you guys go through and count, and here's all the checks, here's all the fives, here's all the ones, here's all the tens. You count them out. You use a little handy sheet. I think there might be a link that I provided. I don't know, Marcy. I have one. If not, but I can share. But basically, it helps you kind of like line out all of the amounts that you have. You both count it separately so your numbers match. I never do. I always have to count 3 times. But then at the end of it, you can make a copy of that, maybe a copy of the checks if you feel so inclined, and then you make sure that everything gets neat and tidy back together and into a safe. You keep a copy of the, if you're not doing like the 3 copies together, like I don't think they're called carbon copies anymore, but there are these little counting sheets where you can put down stuff and you keep the pink and someone gets the yellow and the white. Anyhow, if you don't, there is a PTA form, cash verification form, and you would use that and just make sure you have your copy and your membership envelopes, not with the cash in them, and copies of checks if you, again, felt so inclined, and that was your proof. I counted this and Joe Schmo counted this, and now, Bobby Lee's going to pick it up tomorrow and deposit it. So it's just really important that you guys are very consistent on that. And I would recommend too, if you're busy and other people are busy, try to set up a set date. Maybe it's the first Friday of the month. Maybe it's twice a month on this Wednesday. Just trying to, again, add stuff and continuity to your your game plan. The other thing also is making sure that you're giving board reports every month. So even if you can't go to a board meeting, you should definitely be giving something to your president or maybe the director ahead of above your, who's in charge, who you're under. I guess that's the best way of framing it. You happen to be under the director or VP of programs, and then your membership chair under there. Just make sure that you're reporting to them and maybe the president. Hey, here's what the membership efforts have yielded. Here's what our goal was, and here's how far we are from goal. Here's what we're going to do about it. That way, your board knows every month what's happening and how they can support. So those are really important things just to kind of, again, bear in mind. I'm going very quickly, again, as this really should be review, but if anything is sparking any fear or anxiety, note it so we can talk about it more later on in the call, or again, talk about it even after the training ends. And then rosters are super important, as I was kind of alluding to earlier about reporting it. You do want to track membership and you want to keep it up to date. That's all there really is to it. But what could be helpful is maybe tracking membership sources. Like, let's say somebody joins and you have them from your PayPal account, or maybe it's from your Totem, or maybe it came in from cash or check. It might be helpful for you to even track that. I'm not saying you have to, but in case something comes up, you at least know where to go to like double verify. Oh, they said they joined on this day in Totem. Oh, I can see where I see where they're at. Okay, I might have miskeyed that. Just so that there's always a little bit of, I don't know, an easier way to go back and track what's happened. So, and it's not a requirement, it's just a suggestion. I feel like I can't tell you how many times I wish I had more backup on some of my stuff. Another cool option, as I've mentioned, Totem is another great tool to be using, helpful for tracking stuff. I want to make one note about Totem before I forget. So we had this weird thing happen last year, but I don't think any of you guys would do it here. Okay, so if I'm a member joining through Totem, I mean, like I go on, I maybe scan the QR code, I sign up as Nanette Nolan for Carr Elementary in Torrance, the best unit ever. That's fine. I'm now a member through Totem. You guys are really amazing and crafty, and maybe you're thinking, hey, I'd like to add my members that I got from all these other sources into Totem. I've got their email addresses, and it's going to be awesome. They'll be able to get a digital card, and I can send them renewal notices, and they'll be able to get emails. You're absolutely right. The one thing Totem doesn't do for those members that you import or upload or key in, they didn't buy their membership through Totem, so there's no money in Totem recorded for them. They didn't enter a credit card or anything like that. So there's no depositing of money that happens automatically. So if you got money through PTUZ, Tom Harris joined and you entered him into Totem, that's great. He can, again, get his digital card and do all kinds of cool stuff. But the money that he paid you through your PTUZ store has to be remitted as a check, to your council, again, through your district if you're out of council. So I hope that's clear. Marcy or Kimberly, jump in if I'm ever off. That could also happen. I do misspeak at times. And then you should make sure that your roster is available to your president, for sure to your parliamentarian when you get to the point where like nominating committees and elections are happening, because that's really, really important. It should be at all your association meetings. And your board members might at some point maybe ask you about, who has the membership roster, and that's a board discussion. Discuss that with your president, how they want to handle that. But for the most part, your president, as well as your council and 33rd district, can request and should get a member roster if requested. Because again, those members they don't belong to just your association. They're part of our association. They're part of national and state associations. And it's really we're not doing anything nefarious. So that's just a few components. I'm going to move to the next screen and then we'll pause for questions and maybe a water break. I don't know. Other things that you're going to be concerned with in your very big role that seems to probably keep getting bigger and bigger, right? Is that you're going to be responsible for incentives and contests. So you're not the only person. I should say that. You may be the membership chair, but membership is everyone's job. Everyone on your board should be interested in growing membership and engaging membership and speaking to members. So I'm talking to you, but like really, hopefully this is something you take back to your team and you encourage them to be a part of, because they should. It's not one person's job, even though it feels that way sometimes. So incentives and contests, you may think, well, what can I do to drive more membership later in the year? It's easy in the beginning of the year in that there's a lot of hubbub, there's registration papers, everyone's signing papers left and right. Maybe everyone's excited and they're just giving you money. That's awesome. But it does dwindle. It gets kind of light. And you kind of have to continue to remind people, hey, we still need members. Hey, you could still be a member. Hey, members get this. So in thinking about your year-long effort in driving membership, thinking about things you could add periodically, that would be really fun. Maybe a grade or classroom challenge, and not forgetting to ask every single person, right? I know sometimes we get busy and we want to just send one email out and one email only, because that's all we've got time for. But the truth is that everybody should want to be a member of your PTA, your teachers, your past members, community members, people who are around the school, neighbors of the school. You'd be surprised how many people say yes if only you would ask. So don't forget to ask. Also, this is also, I think, sometimes forgotten. Every single board member, committee member, and chairperson must be a member. Now, again, they have that little bit of wiggle room until July 31st, but you need to crack that whip. So maybe do an audit of your board, ask your president for a roster, and then just make sure you've got one for every single person. And if they don't, just politely say, hey, you don't have your membership. I need it by next week. Thank you so much. And if they give you guff, you let us know. But they shouldn't, because they know membership's important, even if they don't talk about it incessantly like some of us do. Membership perks, that's another thing. So maybe you guys have some ideas about things you want to give that are cool perks. And we'll get into that more and kind of the incentive and member generation ideas. But it's not unusual for a unit to think about cool things they might do. Maybe membership kids get extra something. Maybe member families get other things. But you don't have to think of all that, because we also have membership perks through the national and state PTA. And maybe even your council has some cool perks that they organize locally. So trying to pull that together and make sure that you're telling members, hey, you can get discounts on Hertz rentals, and you can get discounts on tutoring, and you can also get discounts on this, and qualify for grants and scholarships and things like that. Put those perks out, let people know that this is also what they get. Not only are they doing good stuff by handing over their $10 and doing amazing things with just $10, they also get perks. So that's another important thing. And then last, but certainly not least, really, is staying involved. So it's, if you're a new PTA leader, especially, or if you're a season one looking back on your younger years, there's a lot to learn. I feel like maybe I'm still learning. 15-ish years in, I'm still learning. And I think my first 5 years I was lost. So I don't even know how I got this far, but a lot of it is just staying involved, reading some of the newsletters, understanding what are the challenges, connecting with your council or, again, district if you're out of council, and just trying to kind of be aware of what's happening, even at a high level, I think is helpful. And if you're not signed up for the membership newsletters, the Monday newsletters, those are really good, especially as a membership person. If there's one newsletter you should be keeping an eye out on, it's that one. They announce the perks, they talk about any contests they're running for our membership efforts, they announce grants and scholarships and other cool ideas. They announce the training. It is excellent. I think we have a link for that one, Marcy. But those are ones I can definitely recommend. So I'll take a quick beat. Do you guys have any questions? I'm seeing stunned silence and I like it. Okay, well, if nothing, then I'm happy to move on to the poll, which hopefully I execute well this time. So let's see. And now we'll launch this poll. Okay. So, quick knowledge check, just 3 questions this time, I promise. Who should have access to your membership roster? Check all that apply. All members, PTA president, school principal, whoever requests it, council and district PTA, or parliamentarian and nominating committee. And hopefully I did make that a multiple select. Oh yeah, I did. Okay. It's one of those days, weeks, months, you know what I'm saying, people? Next question 2 will be, what is false about the counting membership dues? So there's a lot of reading there, but I'll read it out loud for you just so you can listen to me blather. Never deposit any money in someone's personal account or in like the back of their car, because that's what the part of the question said. Or into the school account, right? So can you do that? If the answer is false, then select that one. Never leave money unattended in someone else's car, home, home, or in the trunk of a car. Each party handling money should count, sign, and receive a copy of this cash verification form. A PTA member, officer, or chair must count the monies received. Any funds kept in a lockbox must be recounted by at least 2 people, including at least 1 PTA officer or chairman, immediately upon being removed from the safe or lockbox prior to fund. And that's such a long one. And then the last one was the treasurer of financial secretary shall deposit the money immediately in the bank. Now, I'm realizing now that was a lot of questions, but hopefully you got your reading. You're welcome. And the last question will be true or false, easy, right? If you enter a member into Totem, that automatically moves money from your bank account to pay through channel. So I'll give it a beat. I see answers coming in. The knowledge check is looking good. You guys are smart cookies. So spoiler alert on the first poll, it's not all members. Not all members are entitled to your membership roster. Nice thinking though. It really should be your president. It has personal information. I wouldn't want my email, phone number flying around. So not all members, your PTA president, your council and district, and for sure your parliamentarian and nominating committee. And then what's false? Oh, I stumped you guys. I had too many words. I think that's really the issue. I'm going to blame that on me. The answer, or the one thing that is false, is a member, meaning a single member, or officer or chairman must count the monies received. That's kind of half true in that you need two people, one being a member and one being an officer or a chair. And then the last, oh, you guys are good. So yeah, if you enter membership into Totems, that money automatically moves from your bank account through channels. The answer is false. So false. So if you entered, as we just said, if you entered a person, Joe Schmo, came from PTZ, and then you entered his information into Totem, that does not automatically. If a person pays, goes through Totem themselves and pays for it, then it goes through channels. I feel like I might have confused you guys on that one. So let me know if we need to come back and revisit. But yes, the only money Totem moves is the money that people themselves put in there when they register. So anybody you add afterwards, you have to pay through the normal old school check to your council. You guys are smart. I love it. And there's the results, just in case you guys are curious how that all went down. That went better, I think. I don't see any other questions, so I'm going to go ahead and jam on. Okay, so when we talk about, I did promise we would talk about how do you drive membership, right? What are some ideas for incentives and challenges and things like that? And the nerd in me wanted to give you all kinds of wild, outlandish, fun, silly ideas, but I realized that that's not where we start, right? We really start at the planning and the thinking and the understanding, like who are the people we're trying to reach and what's important to them. So I kind of think that the first thing you do is think about who and know who are all the tools and partners and things in your toolbox. Your board is indispensable. They can be helpful in helping you craft smart ideas, you know, maybe get donations for things. They'll be the, you know, probably the folks who help you to recruit, you know, volunteers. And your principal is also a partner of your board. So before you can even think about what you want to do, you probably have to kind of know who are all your key folks. And you've probably already met with them a few times, so you're probably great there. It's also important to understand your school community, like the languages spoken or communication preferences, or even reasons people do and don't join. So kind of what I mean by that is if right now you're delivering all of your membership in English, you know, what portion of your community isn't being reached? Maybe have that discussion with your president and your board member, you know, your president and your principal, and kind of figure out what, you know, do you need additional languages in Japanese and Spanish? You know, are there any other families who might have other needs that you just aren't aware of? And I think even just asking people in a language that's comfortable to them gets you kind of far, actually. And then the communication channels, there's so many people in one school. Think about an elementary. You could have a parent or a guardian who is, you know, in their 60s and 70s, and somebody who's in their 20s. There's such a wide range in terms of like generations represented. Don't leave anybody out. So thinking about varying your communications channels or even adding some, so those are kind of like important things to sort of factor in as you're thinking about what would be some good incentives. You have to kind of start with this stuff. And also if you have partners at school, you know, are there school clubs that you could tap into? Are there teachers who would be, you know, be willing to maybe participate or help with ideas? And are there other volunteer groups? I know at some of the high schools, especially, there might be like affinity groups. So like, you know, there was, I think in Compton, they have this really amazing, I think it's like a father's group, which is very cool, a men's group. And in other schools, they may have something like boosters or you know, or a band booster or something like that. And those might be good people, good organizations to kind of tap into. They have infrastructure, they're interested in building membership. Maybe there's some opportunity there that you didn't know, you know, could be. Past membership data is really important. If the person who you took this role from didn't leave you anything, maybe see, you know, checking in again if there was something. Were there flyers? Was there any data? Was there any info? Does the president or previous president maybe have that? If not, you can also always reach out to your council or to the district, and we might have some historical numbers, maybe not your old flyers, but don't recreate the wheel. So I think being able to look back, especially now that you have kind of a breath, right? We're kind of past that first back to school rush, and now we have time to kind of think about what the rest of the year might mean for us. So that looking back at your old info is really a good opportunity to kind of think about what you've done and then how that worked out. Knowing your PTA's value, I cannot say enough about this. It's so important. Parents and guardians don't know where school ends and PTA begins, truly. I can't tell you how many people thought I was a teacher or like worked for the school district in some way. They often don't know who pays for field trips or buses or activities or programs or assemblies or anything. And that's not to say anything bad about them. You know, how would they know that if we're not telling them overtly? This is where all your membership effort, time, money, love, support goes to. And if you don't know what that is, definitely check in with your president. And one great way of kind of cheating your way through that, at least for like an initial draft on a flyer, is to go to your budget and look under the program line item. You'll see that you guys probably do a ton of stuff. You donate money and books to the library. You guys provide volunteers for the classrooms. You know, run a donation drive 3 times a year for paper or something. Think about all the things that you guys do and what would go away, and make sure that people know what it is that's special and unique and about your PTA. And again, I suspect lots of people don't know, but when they see that list, it'll be so hard for them not to be overwhelmed by how much good stuff you guys do. So make sure you're putting that front and center all the time. I would also say every time something you guys host is done, make sure that on your flyers and everywhere that you speak about it, donated by the PTA, supported by the members of the PTA, hosted by the members of the PTA, like talk about your value and let people know, what you guys do for them. And enthusiasm, I can't say enough for. Like people, I don't know, enthusiasm is infectious. I think people can tell when you're into something. Just try to be into something and get other people excited. There's something in PTA for everyone. And so I think you have to be excited before you can get other people to be amped. I will jump into 120 ways to building membership. But again, a few more questions. Again, putting your thinking hats on after you've kind of figured out, situationally, like who you have in your camp, who are your partners and potential partners. Ask yourself as you start thinking about the things that would motivate these people, what excites the students? Obviously, what excites a second grader is very different than what excites a 10th grader. What excites a teacher is vastly different than what excites a parent or a guardian. So thinking about what are the kind of like important things for them and what might be goodies or incentives for them. Also thinking about your budget. If you haven't looked at your budget in a while, or you're kind of saying like, I don't even know if we have a budget. Yes, you do. It's somewhere. Make sure you talk with your president and find out what your budget line item is and what is expected. What has historically that been spent on? And then make your proposal, your counter proposal. Okay, if you guys have just been doing a bunch of paper certificates, could I do this instead? What about this? So knowing what's in your budget now and thinking about your plan and how much it would realistically cost is really important for getting the approval on the next membership contest, the next incentive, the next challenge you guys do. Also factoring in how much time, money, and volunteers and effort would actually take to pull off the thing you're proposing. So I'm one of those people that gets very riled up. I want to do so much stuff, and then I forget that I'm one person. And I think a lot of us are that way. We know how busy everyone is, and so we want to respect their time, and so we do it alone, right? Don't do that necessarily. But before you embark on any of these activities, really think through the logistics. Like, how long would this take to pull off? How much tracking would be involved? How would you alert people? Like, go the full way in understanding and mapping out your game plan, because that's where I think everyone gets kind of stuck. And then again, if you've had stuff that you've tried in the past, how did it work out, or did it work out, and why didn't it? Sometimes an idea was tried, but it was poorly executed. No offense to anyone. I've had my share of poor executed stuff. But try to tease out a little bit, like, oh, well, we did a member dance and the kids weren't into it. Well, tell me about that member dance. Maybe they didn't serve any food and drinks. If they didn't have any like fun games that kids could play. Maybe there wasn't a lounge space. Like, there's tons of things you can do to improve something that didn't quite go so well. And then make sure that you promote the heck out of what you're going to do to make it amazeballs. If they, hosted a dud of an event last year, well, honey, that's last year's thing. This year's thing is going to be all of this. And then throw in some jazz hands for good measure. And then again, who needs to be involved? As you're pulling together your plans and we get really excited, don't forget there's still, a need to request space at your school sometimes, or janitorial support, or custodial support. There'll be other people you're going to need to get involved, like your financial team. So making sure that everybody who needs to be looped in is. So, that's all the nerd stuff, but that's all the important stuff. That's the foundation for any kind of good contest, challenge, incentive, game plan. I did say I was going to share some 125 ways to increase membership. There is a link that Ms. Mossy is going to share. This is the National PTA's tool. It is literally 100. Actually, I think it goes beyond 125. They might have lied. It might be like 133 or something. But what's cool about it is it kind of takes you into like basic stuff, right? Like what I have here is be welcoming and open. And you're like, how does that drive membership? Well, no one wants to join a group that they think is clique or is a mom's group, hate that. Or if they, happen to think that we're just not interested in seeing them. If you're not welcoming and open and excited to have these people, why would they ever hand over to 5 or 10 or whatever the amount of money is to be a member in your organization? What does that mean anything? So making sure that you guys are highly, excited to see people, that you've thought about the kind of how you're going to engage people regardless of whether or not they're members. But it does break down other topics too, like teachers, students, mail. There's virtual and live options as well. So in 125 plus ways, I dare you not to find at least 5 things you've never thought to do that might seem really worthwhile. So I love that they kind of break it down in different sections, and they don't get too in the weeds because I think they want you to figure out how you're going to best do this for yourself. But I think that these are really smart. I mean, and some of them are really easy. You might be doing some, but you might not have a lot of other stuff, planned out yet. So maybe you find some ideas you can really use, especially as you get closer to, maybe doing the 100% teachers or even like the teacher appreciation week. Other thoughts too would be, I don't know, hopefully you've all seen this by now, but the California State PTA has membership challenges that are geared at us, the unit council and district membership chairs. And so I apologize for how small it is. There's a link we have and share with that with you. And I will share out these links too with the recording. So you don't have to like worry about holding on to them. But anyway, what's cool about this is that as you're kind of thinking, what are some good goals? Like, let's say you haven't quite gotten there. You're like, I don't know, I was just trying to make it through my first month and a half. Bless you, I hear you. But now that you're ready to like really put your thinking caps on and get deep into membership, this could be the thing that you aim for. You could say, you know what, I'm gonna kick buns on that Founders Day membership challenge. I'm not gonna get 17. I'm gonna get 117, or I'm gonna double that number, or 100% teachers, that number 4 right there. I don't want just maybe you're at 89 right now. That might be the incentive you need to really push the last of your teachers to join your PTA. So this could be a great option to kind of help guide some of your efforts if you're just looking for kind of a path forward and you're really not sure where you want to, like how you want to build that roadmap, right? Something I wanted to point out that's sort of important is you'll notice that there are due dates on here. And so those due dates are when money is due, remitted through channels to California State PTA. So what that means to you is your council is going to give you a date that is different than the state. So just make sure that or even 33rd district again, if you're out of council. So make sure you're paying attention to that due date when they want money in hand so that they can turn around and cut a check or transfer funds to California State PTA so that you can get your credit. Because if you turn in your stuff after, let's say on November 30th to your council, that's probably not going to be enough, time for them to get stuff moved to 33rd district to California State PTA. Actually, I know it won't be enough. So just make sure you're paying close attention to the dates that are given to you from your council or district directly. Otherwise, just know that these are the California State dates that are kind of for those of us who have to give them money directly. Let's see. Next, we are talking about anything you guys want. So I'm going to just shut up for a minute. If you guys have questions, let me know. If not, let me know. Oh, somebody said, maybe I missed this, but where can I confirm if my email where I sent the theme and goal? So I wish that they wouldn't do this, but they collected an email. I think you could just email membership@capta.org, which is who collected it in the first place. So you could just ask, because I don't think they've given us a readout yet of who submitted anything. So I just popped that email in there. But yeah, I would just and or if you copied somebody, like if you copied your council or district, you could see what date that was submitted. I don't know if they reply back with a received or confirmed or anything, but I apologize if that wasn't clear. Anything else? All right. Well, I'm going to take that as a sign and move on. So I have like a small interactive activity. I'm going to explain it, so I'm going to show it, and then we'll just jump in. And here we go. So I put together a Google Doc, nothing special, just an open link labeled 3 pages, elementary, middle school, and high school. And you can drop in your best ideas, or even questions, I guess. You can always put questions in there too if you're looking for, just trying to noodle or get an idea more fully fleshed out. But put your best ideas wherever they make sense. And then we'll give this about 15 minutes, but honestly, if we go quickly in a small group, it could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes. So just know 15 is probably the max, but then we'll kind of stop and take a look. So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment and then pull that drive up. Of course, it's the one link I do not have up right now. Give me one. Oh man, I got too tidy cleaning up my space, and then there it went. Okay, I'm gonna paste this in the chat, unless Marcy already did, and then I'll show you on screen. Oh, wrong window. Okay. Oh yeah, thank you. Okay, so if you click that link, what will open is a separate tab with the membership ideas. So I'm gonna share my screen. So if you'll not pay attention to what's on your screen just yet, and I will share this, and hopefully this feels super rudimentary. You're like, I've done this, girl. No one needs you. So what you see now is just typing. So anonymous sheep, I don't know who you are. I don't need to know who you are. You could type in whatever you want in this elementary, middle school, or high school, or all of them if you've been at them, and just go ahead and type. And then other people will jump in and they'll type also. So it's really that easy. So with that said, feel free to jump in there. And if you're having trouble accessing, let me know. I think we left it as an open document. So I've tested and I think it's working, but I'm also logged into Google every place. And I can throw in some stuff I also know I've been hearing is working. I've never had this, but a Dole Whip contest. So at some of the elementary schools, in Torrance Council, they were doing, I think it's a small size Dole Whip because it's supposed to be like nutritionally acceptable per like the nutrition guidelines that the schools are adhering to. That's a huge one. The kids were going wild for that. Another principal at a school recently was saying that he had agreed to being shaved, and somebody else had a pie in the face or shaved head. I thought that was pretty bold. But maybe it was near summertime. I don't know. Other things that I found to be really, really cool at the elementary school level could be classroom parties. As I see there, somebody typed in like a pizza party for 100% members. If you speak with your president and your board and your principal, you guys might come up with some cool other incentives. Maybe the teachers would give you a free homework pass for students, with the most, the most membership in their classrooms, or you can kind of get creative and think about, kids love to be competitive. You can make a little cute, sort of like thermometer about how many members we have or how close you are to goal. People seem to enjoy that stuff. I think raffles are always really good if you have people who want to donate really cool prizes. That's a neat thing. Or if you're already doing an existing thing, like maybe for your, winter fundraiser, maybe they get an extra ticket as being a member, things like that. It doesn't have to be big stuff. It can be kind of pretty small when you think about it, but kids of that age seem to be really, really excited. Oh, I love this. Every student with at least one membership receives a donut. Nobody says no to donuts. And I can't say enough about the membership dance. Okay, here's what I would say. I was, years ago when I was a membership chair at a middle school, we had hosted a membership dance. Spoiler alert, kids don't dance. They hang out. So there's music playing. We had a DJ and some cool wall things. and they got, we offered to get them like, I'll just be honest, junky food, but it was well after the school days. I think the 30 minutes requirement. So they had like chips and pretzels and popcorn bags and like Capri Suns and waters and I think maybe some sodas. So the PTH, bought the food for this dance, did some light decorations, and the kids had a great time. We put out like loungy chairs, and then there was like we had did a bunch of beach balls, and they were doing that, and they had their own things going. Think about fun stuff you guys can incorporate that these kids normally don't get to do. If it's within your budget, or you have a way to get like a great discount on this, like I've seen the video game buses that you can do with sometimes with the fundraisers. Well, yeah. So your membership drives, you guys could do like the winning class and get, this after school, or so I think just start kind of thinking about like those kinds of fun things that you can kind of add, and it doesn't have to be big, like a giant video game bus, but it could be some fun stuff like that. Another option for inexpensive and also appropriate stuff might be ordering directly from your school services, like your food services. I know that one of the schools used to sell, like do ice cream parties, but they were from like the school district's ice cream, and so that they knew they were compliant and then they could give them without any issues. Lunch with the teacher is very cool sometimes, especially if it's a cool teacher. Those are really good, as well as even just lunch with the principal. I think elementary kids would probably be pretty stoked, but again, depending on kind of like your teachers and your principal, they may also be really cool. So those could be kind of neat things. There could just also be like benefits, like a cool lounge area where members get to hang out, in the shade or whatever. Again, a lot of this is going to be dependent on what your principal and your school site is up for, but just kind of thinking about sort of perks, right? And the same thing actually goes for high school. Somebody said run pass. Oh, sorry, keep typing. I don't want to jack you up. Run pass for PE. Thanks, Kimberly. Other things in high school, it's tougher with the high school, I'll be honest, but I feel like high schoolers still enjoy like junk food and silly things. So like some of the things I think you could apply to the middle school, maybe not the dance, but things like donuts in the morning or coffee service. There are a lot of high school kids that do enjoy coffee, or could they get I don't know, donated something from like Starbucks. So I think just trying to think again of like the perks, and I think the best way to even pump people for information is like ask your students, what are the things you're into? So any young people that are in your life, start pumping them for information. Like, what does this sound like? Is this lame? Does this sound good? I'm sure you guys are already doing that. But pump their friends for information. Ask your friends about their kids. Like, try to get that intel because every student is so different. You don't want to just, service some kids who are way into sports and other kids who are way into dances. And so you kind of have to kind of throw a little variety out there. Kids love free playtime. For the high school students, again, probably tricky. We used to give like freebie things at the snack bar. They could get like a free popcorn if they were a member. And I don't know that it was exactly a membership driver, but it was definitely a cool perk. And those members came looking for their popcorn because we had our popcorn machine. You could give them discounts. Like let's say if you guys happen to be the organization running the snack bar, maybe they get a free lollipop or a free something. Again, probably something that is going to come out of your guys' pocket too bad, but those are kind of neat things. One idea I've played with, but I've never executed, but I always wish somebody would, is if you could do like a dedicated seating for members, like first come, first serve, of course, but if you're a member, you might be able to sit in the first 3 rows, with the exception of these 2 rows that are reserved for, other people. I mean, again, you couldn't do that just willy-nilly. You'd have to probably get somebody to give you some buy-in on that, but those would be really good things also to kind of consider. So anyhow, I know again it's a small group and you guys are coming to us for ideas, so you're probably like, this lady doesn't know what she's talking about. We need ideas. I hear you. I just know sometimes you guys have some stuff and you're looking for more stuff, so we'll get more ideas. I'll also push it out to the members or folks who couldn't join us tonight who wanted the recording. So I'll make sure we get that together. And give me one second. Let me just get the last bit. It's like the double clicking everywhere. I don't have any shortcuts. All right. So now that we've kind of talked about membership stuff, and again, no, I'm not sure, not worried. Hopefully you guys got some ideas, and I hope some of the tools we share are really helpful. Again, a lot of this is kind of hard to give you an answer, you know, like what challenge or contest would work great, because it really is going to be dependent. You know, school, and we have 4 high schools in Torrance, 6 of the 5, all different kinds of kids in those all 5 of those schools, and I'm always surprised with how different things can be even just in the same neighborhood. So that's going to be really specific to you guys. But anyway, I digress. So if you guys have any top challenges, it's sort of an opportunity to kind of air out those. Is there anything that you feel like you're stuck on? Anything that I touched on that you're like, what? Is there anything you want me to demonstrate? We could even talk about Totem if you wanted to. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing. Let's go to the speaker view and see if there's anything, yeah, anything that you guys had at all that you thought would be you'd want to touch on. If the answer is no, that's cool. That means that you guys feel covered, I hope, I think. All right, I see nothing. So that's fine. All right, good. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop. Oh, I'll show you one last thing, just in case you guys run into anything. So please know that, you know, after the meeting, and I know too, it's like a funky time of day, right? You guys are probably in the middle of dinner, schlepping kids around. And so I know it's, you know, sometimes we're kind of multitasking while also taking this in. So no judgment. But should you need me or any one of us afterwards, you could reach me at leadership@33rdpta.org. Now, I can't say enough about your amazing counselors. Please reach out to them first and foremost if you feel like you need training, support, you're lost. If you're out of counsel, you're stuck with me. But for everyone else, you know, again, reach out and I'm happy to either nudge you back to your counsel or answer you and loop your counsel in, whatever. In the short term, we'll be getting some more information out about membership and additional training and opportunities. So yeah, don't be a stranger. Thank you. All right, people. Have a good night. Oops, let me stop my focus mode. Okay, bye, friends.
Nan, did you want to talk about the Spanish trainings coming out too?
Yeah.
And
All right. People are filtering out. Love it. Thank you, Kimberly. And thank you, Rita, for being here in spirit. Oh.
Do you want me to stop the recording?
Oh yeah, and I can do yeah, and then I'll crop it when it gets to YouTube.
Okay.